talking about linguistic discrimination based on regional accents. I think we do have a certain degree of perceptions as to the educational levels with certain folks due to, for example, southern accents versus northern accents. I'm recently a transplant from the Northeast Vermont into Mississippi within the past 2 years, and I think we as a we as a nation have always kind of had a sort of a cultural bias when we hear somebody with a southern accent, thinking that they are less educated. I think there's some factors that come into play there. The South statistically has always been perceived as not having as high of an education level. Although, if you look at modern statistics, for example, Mississippi, our rate of high school graduates is on par with the national level. 72% for Mississippi. I think national level is right about 73%. I think a lot of the perception comes to do or comes from the fact that people in the South have a tendency to talk much slower than people from the Northeast. That was one of the things when I first came south that some coworkers that were born and raised in this area had told me that I may have a problem with folks understanding me because of the fact that how I spoke was much quicker than they did. I also find that people in the South, regardless of education level, have a tendency to use more local slang, which I think can be perceived as being uneducated. I think pop culture has a lot to do with our perception of a person with a southern accent coming across as less educated. If you look at me being a child of the late '70s, early '80s, growing up with Saturday morning cartoons. In those cartoons, a lot of the characters with southern accents were painted as being backwards or rubes. If you look at Dukes of Hazzard, same idea. They were always kind of, they were good old boys, but always kind of backwards redneck. You get into kind of a horror movie trope is the cannibalistic, crazy hillbilly character. So I think we have to take a little, there's a little pop culture bias that comes into play there as well.
You come from Charleston, where they have a lovely Southern accent. Most people.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
You don't have a trace of it.
No, I don't. At a very young age, I decided I was not going to have a Southern accent. When I was a kid watching TV, if you wanted to use a shorthand that someone was stupid, you gave the character a Southern accent. Now, that's not true. Southern people are not stupid. But I didn't want to seem stupid. I wanted to seem smart.